Hey, welcome into another edition of Man 101. You know what this is, people? This is topsoil. About 2 yards of topsoil I had delivered to the house today. And you know what? Go ahead. Take a whiff. Oh, that's good. Oh, taste it. Yeah, that's dirt, people. And I'm going to tell you what. Today, I am going to give you a man's skill. Essentially overseeding your yard, top dressing your yard in the areas that just aren't doing what you want them to do. So come on, follow me. So it's springtime in Colorado. It's absolutely gorgeous outside. Last year in my front yard, I got a fungus in some areas of the yard that just left my yard looking ugly. So I'm gonna overseed those areas of my yard. I'm also gonna fill the low spots up with topsoil, essentially top dressing those areas in my yard. There's also some ruts from years of kind of mowing in the same area. I'm gonna fill some of those in. Also some of the places that just don't accept water very well, I'm gonna fill those in, prep the soil, and let you see exactly how I go about taking care of my yard come springtime. So as you can see, this was part of my fungus issue. You can see some of these low-lying spots here. You can see where the fungus ate up the lawn. So I'm gonna prep the soil, prep the area to accept more soil, to level it out and put some grass seed down. Now you can also see that I just aerated my lawn. You see these little things? These are like little magic sod turds. Don't ever rake these up and dispose of them. They will go right back into the earth. They'll create a better environment for your lawn to grow. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take this area and I really want to scratch it up, expose some soil so that it better accepts the soil I'm going to put down on top of these areas. Quick point of order for your amateurs out there. When raking, always set your rake back down on the grass with the tongs facing into the grass. Never like this. Why? Well, let me demonstrate for you. All right, you're finished with your work and you're walking around the yard admiring what you just accomplished, and you're strolling through. You forgot that you put your rake with the tongs facing upward. You step on the rake and wham, hits you right in the face. Or worse, wham, slams you right in the yarbles. And come on, nobody wants to get hit in the yarbles. I'm a dude, you're a dude. We all agree here. So make sure you put your rake down with the tongs facing into the grass. Simple man skill. Okay, so here's a little tip here with your rake. When you're trying to flatten this stuff out, it's really hard to do it with the tong end because it gets caught up in the grass and it's hard to get it to come out nice and even and flat. So just flip the rake around and kind of just go over it all. The stuff that goes into the grass, that's fine. You want it in there, but it'll help level out your whole lawn and you'll be able to see kind of where your shallow spots are. You'll be able to see where some of your shallow spots are, and you'll be able to go ahead and even out those spots that you didn't like in your yard. Okay, once you get the soil spread out evenly and to your liking, one of the things I like to do is take a tamper, and I like to tamp this stuff down to make sure that it's in there before I put grass seed over the top of it. Just tamp it down really good, get it nice and, you know, knocked down so it becomes part of the yard, part of the soil. You don't have to use a lot of energy. Just go ahead, just like it's called, a tamper, and just tamp that thing. And then we'll come back through here and we'll throw some seed on this. Okay, so here's another thing in my yard that I want to fix. You could see these big, beautiful pine trees in my yard. I mean, they are gigantic, right? But one of the things they leave is pine needles. And one of the things that pine needles do is they burn up your yard where they land in, man. They're very acidic and they essentially burn it up. And this area almost becomes what I would like to call hydrophobic, where it just doesn't accept water very well. So I'm gonna do two things to this area of my yard before I put soil down. One, I'm gonna rake up as good as I can all these pine needles and do some of this just to get it nice and, you know, ready to accept the soil once again. So I'm gonna go up and down
that area and do that. And then one of the other things that I like to do in these areas is I like to take a shovel and I just like to kind of mix the soil up, kind of chop it up a little bit before I put the new soil back down in this area. See how hard it is? The water that gets on there essentially just drains right off. So I'm gonna try to chop it up as best I can and then re-rake it and get it ready to accept some new dirt. Now a lot of times in these areas, I'll just keep going with my shovel before I rake it all in and just kind of continue to try to soften that area so it's not so hydrophobic, so it accepts some water as this grass seed starts to grow. Okay, so there's one more little problem area in my yard. You see the slope? It starts up there at the flower bed and kind of comes down, drains down here. And this low-lying area always has a little bit too much water on it. And what you can see right here are a couple of spots. Right in here, you can see it's lower here. Also, that's where one of my tire tracks comes in, so you can see it kind of dips underneath there. So I'm gonna fill in some of these low-lying areas with dirt right now. And I like to do the same thing I did everywhere else. I simply chop it up a little bit. It's already been aerated. So I get in those areas as best I can. And then I just throw some dirt in it. You can rake it, or you can use what we call a foot trowel. Go ahead in there, foot trowel it out, and then I'll come back in here and tamp it down, but I'm just going to spread dirt in some of these low areas now. Now all I have to do is spread down the seed. As you can see, I'm using a broadcast spreader, but it's got an edge here on this edge, so I can go right up along the edge and make sure that I drop it up against the rocks, but I'm not spraying it into the garden. And now, after that, all I do is lightly rake in my seed and then turn on my sprinklers. And this lawn in about 3 or 4 weeks is gonna look brand new. Man 101, you're welcome.